Welcome back to the We Was Watching podcast. I'm your host, Brandon.
I'm your other host, Chanel.
And we are back to talk about a new show
Yep.
on Apple TV. It's called Murderbot, starring Alexander Skarsgård. And it's based off a book called The Murderbot Diaries, I think. Or something like that. What book is Murderbot based off? The Murderbot Diaries, yeah, by Martha Wells, which I'm not gonna lie, these first two episodes made me gonna go read the book because I'm totally interested in this world that exists here. But before we get into that show, if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can leave us a review. If it's 5 stars, we'll read it on the show. You can also follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/@WeWasWatching, or just search for the We Was Watching podcast in the search bar. And please go subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and hit the notification bell so you can see us go live. You can email the show at wewaswatchingpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll read those on the show. We have an email which I'll read shortly. And you can also follow us on social media at We Was Watching on Twitter and Blue Sky. But as I said, we did get an email today, and this week I should say, and the email was from Keith, and Keith said, "Hey Chanel and Brandon, great to be with you again. Just listen to your Andor season 2 recap. While I subscribe to other podcasts and movies and TV, you guys consistently go where no one has gone before. See, like Star Trek. You got to get Chanel into the Star Trek.
I'm aware.
This episode, it was Chanel lamenting the Eurocentric aesthetic of fascism in the Star Wars universe. Brandon's
what a great way to summarize.
Cited the essential nature of allegory, dressing up social critique in a manner palatable to those whom it addresses. Example, George Orwell's Animal Farm. As it happens often, you both made your case. To Chanel's point, we're not so nuanced here in the New World. While it's illegal to display the swastika in Germany, the Confederate flag is fair game in the United States. Brazenly flown above state houses, subtly worked into things as banal. No, it's not the word. It is banal.
Banal.
Is it banal? Oh, banal as football uniforms. Mm-hmm. The Houston Texans, who even have a battle red version, if we haven't caught the reference. Well, the Texans thing is the Texas flag, but I guess it's probably derived from that more than likely. But technically, it's a Texas flag. And network TV comedies, The Hood of the Dukes of Hazzard's Trans Am. Yeah. Tellingly, both of these old world and new world symbols were brandished during the January 6th assault on our capital. But I think Brandon is also right.
Ooh.
The only means of getting proto-fascists to consume message content is with as little direct indictment as possible. If the show's empire references were more overly domestic, Confederate general name checks and Mason-Dixon line on Gorman, a Dred Scott proclamation by the Imperial Senate, disbelief would not be suspended. Hence, the very demographic who could benefit most from viewing Andor or any Star Wars content would never even sample it. Moreover, given the visual cues of the current Oval Office, the cabinet, G.I. Joe White, and the upcoming military parade next month, the flavor of American authoritarianism is opining that of Europe. I'm old enough to remember that a proposed redesign of U.S. Army's helmet was too reminiscent of the World War II German model to be accepted. Today, I wonder. Please keep your outstanding work. Best, Keith. What an excellent email, Keith.
Keith, you are the bomb. Thank you for that email.
But yeah, I think you were right. We both were right. Chanel was 100% right that it wasn't as deep as it could be. And I think I was right that if it was that deep, none of the people would have watched it. They wouldn't have watched it. Or they would have been like, this sucks. You know, another example is about, did you watch Daredevil, Chanel?
Not the new one.
So the new Daredevil.
My Daredevil is Ben Affleck, who is also the accountant.
Terrible Daredevil, you mean. So the new Daredevil was the wokest show Marvel has ever made. Like, it's the wokest show by far they've ever made. But nobody cried woke at all about the show. One, because people were just happy. To be fair, people were just happy to see Daredevil again. because he was gone since the Netflix show. So they were just happy to see him back having his own show. But two, the person in charge, the lead person in the show was a white man. So it didn't feel as woke, even though the entire point of the show was like, police be bad. They really be bad. Wearing the Punisher sign as a police officer.
Be bad. It's killing me.
wearing the Punisher sign of the police officer is bad. They had the Punisher talk to the police and be like, y'all are not supposed to be like this. Y'all aren't supposed to be like me. I'm not good. So if you're trying to be like me, you're not good. Like the Punisher's like saying this to the police officer. They got the Kingpin literally dressing like Trump. He creates an anti-vigilante force to round up people like immigrants and get them up out the city. Like it's like smacking you in the face, right? But they even had him. This is not a super spoiler. They even had a picture of him. You know how Trump always stands like he's like tipping forward, like he's always has his hands like lurched to the side and tipping forward. They literally had Kingpin stand like that every time he's like on a profile, like exactly how Trump stands. And so some people saw it.
Spurs?
Well, you know, those are probably healed by now. So and the people liked it, right? And I think the message people didn't miss the message. They just didn't dismiss it offhand because it was, if that was Luke Cage, right? And the first episode, they got the police beating the hell out of somebody and like that they're bad. People were like, okay, this is more woke DEI bullshit from Disney. I'm not watching this shit, right? Right off rip, the first episode that they see it, because Luke Cage is woke, is black doing it. They still saw, from what I can tell, people still saw the messaging, but it didn't feel the same, I guess, because it was a white man, which isn't good. I'm not saying that's good, but I'm saying that's, I guess, how it works sometimes with those types of people. It's better, I guess. But we'll see. But we loved Andor. There won't be a... Chanel, did you watch Rogue One?
I started it.
How do you start movies and then don't finish it? How do you do that?
I didn't like the beginning. I texted you. I tell you when these things are happening. What happened was first of all, there was a little bit of a gap and it messed me up. And I realized I'm being too hard on them because Rogue One came out before Andor. But if you watch it all back to back to back like I did, you see Cassian get into a space cruiser and he says, hey, that's probably not what they call him here, but he says, okay, Death Star, big weapon. I just warned everyone. No one believes me. I need to go talk to this guy. He gets to the guy. The guy is like, I heard about this weapon. He goes, what weapon? What do you mean? Tell me about the weapon. I'm like, he was just talking about the weapon 30 minutes ago. He knows what the fuck weapon it is. And then Cassian does a Luthen and kills the source before escaping. And I was just like, this is too much for me. And then I also think I think it was late. And I went to sleep, but I will watch before next time if we want to talk about it some more. Were you just checking in, or is it relevant to this?
No, I would just love to hear what you think about Rogue One. That's all.
I just was like, I was immediately like, plot gap, because why the fuck would you start the whole point of the thing was that nobody believed him before, right? And then now here it is, he's like, he hears about the weapon and he's like, oh, huh? Like, I didn't like that. But I could be hard on them.
Well, that's not a real smooth transition in the Murderbot, but we're here to talk about Murderbot.
Oh, wait, you want to transition? Okay, but here's the thing. We talked about the thing that every show has something that connected to the other show, and we make up these links between all the shows to make our universe of content make sense. And so, what's funny is that at the end of Andor, I told you that my favorite thing was that they repurposed a droid that was really, really scary and big to be their droid. So they had their own Murderbot. And now in the new show on Apple TV Plus, Murderbot, we get to see more into this Murderbot's mind. So we have our very own Murderbot. And there's 2 Skarsgårds. We get the dad in Andor, and we get the son in
That's
Murderbot.
A good one right there. So there's not many people recapping the show from what I can tell. That's either going to be a good thing for us or a bad thing for us. We'll find out.
It's always good or bad, exactly.
We'll find out if that's good or bad for us. But the people who have watched the show are giving it rave reviews. There's people that's watched the whole season, so like the reviews have come out. And last I checked, it was doing really well with the critics. Let's see. Right now, it's at 98% with critics on Rotten Tomatoes. Only one rotten review. Everything else is fresh. So I thought it was pretty good. So before we get into the episodes, they released 2 episodes, episode 1 and 2. Chanel,
and they went by really quickly,
which is going to be good for us.
Yeah.
What did you think overall about the show?
Brandon doesn't enjoy doing this, guys. Brandon is always like, "How quickly can we get out of here?" Whenever we go to record.
I love doing this. What are you talking about?
Brandon is always like, "How quick can we make these 25 minutes?" And I'm like, "Brandon, I would like to record a whole episode." And he goes, "Okay, whatever."
That's exactly right. What'd you think about Murderbot, Chanel?
It was interesting. They didn't get to the part I wanted, which was like I wanted the reveal, but I think they built up to it, so I'm not like that confused like about what is going on. I actually went back to watch a trailer after, which I know you would never do, but I went back to watch a trailer after the first 2 episodes to kind of like ground myself in what everything was happening, and that helped a little bit for me to get excited about it. But I thought it was okay. I know you liked it. Tell me why you liked it.
Well, one, they're telling like a classic sci-fi story through humor, which I love, which is what does it mean to be human? I'm pretty sure that's what this is going to be about, which is a classic sci-fi story. But they've added some humor to this. But I also find it to be kind of like dark. Like it's kind of fucking dark.
It is kind of dark, yeah, because I mean, he names himself Murderbot.
Yeah. It's kind of dark.
What murder means, so.
And there's like something in his past that's like really fucked up. And apparently like there's like terrible corporations that like run shit there that no one fucks with, but they gotta
rim.
Yeah, they gotta deal with them anyway. So there's like a lot of shit going around there. And I was just like, I want to know more about this world. Like, what is this world? Right, like, I want to know about this world. So I kind of want to like go at least get the first book, because I heard this was I heard that this show was based off of a novella in the series. So I guess it's not one of the main books. It's one of like the off books, I'm assuming.
Interesting. Okay.
And so I kind of want to see like more about this world, which I'll probably do, but I don't like spoiling myself during the season. Unlike Chanel. You know, Chanel, if you guys remember, we were watching Silo, and Chanel read the entire book during the show so that she could spoil herself on the actual show that she's watching.
Sure, and I would do it again.
Just so y'all know the type of person I'm working with.
Because I didn't have time for that bullshit.
Just so y'all know who I'm working with.
For them to go 5 minutes ahead on the plot, I was like, tell me what I'm missing, because it's going to upset me. And I'm glad I knew.
But let's get into episode 1. Episode 1, I forget. I didn't write down the title of Murderbot episode 1. I wrote down the title of episode 2. Episode 1 was titled Free Commerce. Okay.
Oh yeah, okay. Just getting acquainted with I think that was like the port that he started out at.
So yeah, Knox, we're gonna spoil this a little bit because that's the only way we review stuff so far.
So sorry.
Hope you come back and listen if you don't want to get spoiled.
Yeah, definitely come back. Well, like it'll take you, by the time we're done with this, you'll be done with watching it.
We're at a mining station at Arataki Corporation Wing. And it's a bunch of miners celebrating. They must have just got done their job, right? Like they were out there to do a job. They finished it. They're all celebrating, drinking and shit. And we get a voiceover from the SEC unit. And he's talking about his job is to protect these miners from danger, no matter who they are, what they do. And he says, even if they're assholes. And he starts like naming all these miners that are fucking assholes. Knox said, congratulations, Chanel. Yeah.
Thank you.
Chanel's done with schooling.
I'm done. Very weird.
Until she goes to get a doctorate. Then she'll be back in school.
Yeah, you got time on that one. Yeah, so the whole show is narrated. Like we're going through the show with Murderbot.
Like Joe Goldberg. Like my man Joe Goldberg.
I didn't want to interrupt, but I do want to know where you're at with you.
I'm on the second episode of season 3.
I need, and I mean need, you to finish this season. This is the season.
Well,
I
I am.
really
I'm
tell me
going
to push you.
home. I'm going home this tomorrow because my
Okay.
mom is actually moving here. My mom's moving here at the end of the
wonderful.
month, and so I'm helping her clear out her stuff, and then I'm actually going to drive her car here with my cousin so she can fly here.
Okay. That's great.
So I'm going to be home. So I got stuff to do. I got nothing to do except help her do stuff. So I'm going to watch probably the rest of the show.
Get her caught up with you because tell me when you get to 5. Don't pass me. Don't skip past me without telling me. But basically, we just have a moment where I figure out if you really fuck with Joe or not, because Joe pisses everybody off at the end of the season.
So far through season 2, I'm Team Joe Goldberg. I mean, obviously he's done something wrong, but he's done very little wrong, in my opinion. Very little wrong so far.
This is why I'm so glad I made you watch this show, because
in fact, Love is scarier than Joe. Much scarier than Joe. Because when Joe did stuff, it wasn't on purpose. It was almost, at least so far, it was almost on accident. He didn't kill Peach on purpose. Spoiler alert. Well, I mean, that's 5 years old, so I don't give a fuck. He didn't kill Peach on purpose. It was an accident. They were fighting over the gun and shit like that. He didn't kill Peach on purpose. Didn't
he bring the gun though?
No, it was her gun.
Okay, yeah.
It was her gun. Okay. He didn't kill the pedophile on purpose, right? He was trying to get him to fucking admit himself on camera, and then they got in a fight. He fell down the fucking steps, right? Didn't kill him on purpose. Love was just like, oh, I'm gonna murder you, even though you're tied up in this fucking glass room. I don't give a fuck. Like, she's kind of scary. And then this season, season 3, she just kills this woman for no fucking reason.
Okay.
So I'm Team Joe Goldberg so far.
That's actually crazy. And what was his reason for killing what's the first woman, Beck?
Okay, that's what I said. That's the only one that he did something wrong. Was Beck.
Okay. But the rest of them are just like,
the rest of them were either they deserved it or it was an accident.
This is so interesting. Okay. I am enthralled. Okay.
That's right.
I think that Joe just gets to a point where
Skeeter. I mean, listen, it's a ridiculous show, just so you know, Skeeter. It's a ridiculous show. He actually is you worth watching. It's a ridiculous show. Chanel knew it was ridiculous, and that's probably why she told me to watch it. But once you start watching it, you don't want to stop watching it. And you'll find yourself liking Joe. You'll find yourself and then you're going to question yourself, why do I like this man? That's what will happen. So now you're on mute. Oh, you might have unplugged your mic.
Oh, I turned it off.
Oh.
That's hilarious. Can you hear me now? Yeah, exactly. I think you just nailed exactly why anyone would watch you. Two quick fun facts about the show is that it started out on Lifetime actually, and it didn't do well. Something happened. Like, I think Lifetime was like, this is too far. And so Netflix picked it up and it went crazy on Netflix. Like, I don't know if it was as popular, but I know that like the last 2 seasons came out on Netflix. So
This was on Lifetime? What? Oh, Skeeter, go watch it. Please, go watch it. Tell us next week.
I think they went too far. And then the other thing is, remember I told you to remind me, so the season where there's like this predator guy who he's like a comedian, right? He's like a performer. That same guy, that actor, I used to listen to his podcast because he's very funny. He got me too after doing this season.
Oh, really?
For like, I don't know about the drugging, but like literally just being a creeper, or like I think a good amount of comedians, honestly, a lot of people need to be careful, because if you go back through Facebook messages, apparently comedians used to hit up girls in towns and they wouldn't always it would be questionable what their ages were. And I can't tell you how easy or how hard that is to do. I just know that like that was part of it. And I think there were people who had specific allegations against him. And I was like, we're talking about like separating the art and the artist. I was so mad because I listened to this man's podcast every week, because he would like do this solo ranting podcast that was very funny, and he fucked up. So, blessings to all the victims and all the survivors, and we do believe women. But that really sucked, and it was also very crazy that he played like this crazy guy and got all these accolades for being like, oh, I can't believe you'd be willing to do that, and then got accused himself.
Guess who else don't like creeps? Joe Goldberg.
Joe is the problem, and that's the thing. It takes 5 seasons for you to get there. Okay.
Anyway, he calls them assholes, and then he goes,
oh yeah, we're at the beginning of Murderbot.
He goes, I got to do everything a human says because I have this thing called a government module, and it tells me I can't disobey humans. But I spent all my free time during this trip trying to figure out how to fucking override this shit, and I was successful. And he basically overrides his government module, and then he's like, huh, what should I do with myself now that I can do whatever the fuck I want? He's like, maybe I'll change my name. And he's like, Freedom Unit, Roguebot, Murderbot. Murderbot.
Because Murderbot is crazy. Because Roguebot makes so much more sense. Murderbot is just like, you said, you're basically like, I got free just so I could be evil. Like, you very much set it up. But that first 5 minutes Brandon just went through just sets up the whole series really about like what we're here for, how we got here. They play the intro, and then the rest of it kind of jumps into this new world, which I think is interesting. But like Brandon said, we don't get too much view of like the rest of the universe, so that will be interesting. I am curious if the books give you more context of like what other people are doing. But apparently in this universe, the bots are a thing. Like, people, there's this big company, maybe the corporation or whatever it's called, and they are still exploring the universe. But like basically the one company, like the Amazon of the world, the Amazon / Skynet, AmazonNet has these robots that like, they will not insure you to go explore, terraform a new planet unless you have a security bot with you, because the security units are going to keep you safe and make sure that like you're not dying on the company's dime or like wasting their equipment or whatever. So that's what the sec units are for. And we find out that like Murderbot is the older one that's getting phased out. But this group is coming to try to terraform a new planet and discover, I guess, I don't know what the fuck they're looking for, but this group is coming, and some of them are, what are they? The peace something?
Yeah, so they're a group of people, and Murderbot says they come here in clothes that they wove themselves by hand. He names that specifically.
Yeah, they're very hippie.
Yeah, they're very hippie. And so he's surprised by them because Mensa, who's the leader of that group, she's like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable having a sentient being having to listen to me. That's kind of enslavement. You can see how that could be a problem, right? And they're like, well, that's like Chanel said, we're not going to assure you if you don't take one. So they show them the newest model, and it's like, oh, look at this cool thing, it can do everything. And they're like, yeah, but what about that one? What about that one behind them? What about that one that's like leaned up against the wall behind him?
Yeah, I don't know how they never explained how he got there, but he's just back there chilling.
And they're like, we want him. So they get our guy, Murderbot. So then we go to the mining survey location, Corporation Rim, and Murderbot is doing his rounds, checking for safety. The group is very hipster.
Yeah, sorry. So the group is so now they're on a new planet, and this is the planet they're on a planet trying to discover things about the planet. They jump right to that, and that's where the rest of the episode takes place.
Group is very hipster. They're like painting the habitat that they gave them and making terrible music. And we meet the cast.
I mean, there's a lesbian couple. Yeah.
Yeah, we have Arata. She's a biologist. She's married to Penn Lee, who's a lawyer. They're together. We meet Rati, who's a dude who's an expert on wormhole traveling. Arata, though, has a thing for Rati. But Rati didn't know that because he got a thing for Penn Lee.
And
so
Penn Lee's not thinking about nobody but Arata.
Mensa, yeah, Penn Lee's not thinking about anybody but Arata. Mensa was the leader. Everyone loved her. And she's an expert on terraforming. And then Garafin is an augmented human who had implants that let him interface with data systems. And then we have Bardwatch, who's a geochemist. So then we get this fucking great scene, by the way, which I have, of Murderbot. In his free time, he likes to watch TV. And so this is some of the stuff that he watches.
now that he's free, he's like, the good news is I can tap into the universe's satellite, and he's sitting up watching. I love his show within the show.
Yep.
Well, they didn't demand that much attention, which was great because I had made a huge discovery. With my governor module hacked, I could now access the combined feed of entertainment channels on the company's satellites. I had watched 7,532 hours of content since then. Shows like World Hoppers, Med Center Argala, and my all-time favorite.
This is like interdimensional cable on Rick and Morty.
The Rise and Fall of Sanctuary Moon.
This show is insane, by the way. I wish I could have got the video so y'all could have seen it. I just got a picture from it. It's like Star Trek. It's like if you put Star Trek, like modern Star Trek, like Star Trek Discovery looking show, if you put Star Trek in the context of a soap opera. So you know how a soap opera is shot? If you shot Star Trek like a soap opera with overdramatic acting, this is what he was watching.
Look at the sheer magnitude of that thing.
Prepare to repel borders. Boldness is all.
Boldness is all.
Lieutenant, battle shields maximum.
No. Not until you tell me. Did you sleep with that bot?
There's like a robot on the ship. So they're questioning did he sleep with the robot.
Stars, Captain.
I am a navigation unit, not a sex bot.
I wasn't talking to you. You took an oath never to lie on deck. Answer the question.
It'd
They
be so
definitely was
creepy if it
doing
didn't
it.
stand so still. Shh. You can hear us. I can't.
I could, just didn't care.
Stay calm. It'll be okay. You have my word.
Ooh, that was a great episode, which is why I was a little distracted.
So, by the way, he's an asshole, Murderbot is. With a disdain for humans.
But also, like, to be fair, he was refurbished and wiped, but what we know of his memories is that he was with those miners who were not good people. Like, he was just like on a planet with a bunch of dirtbags. So I think like it's realistic that he feels all of this. So we'll see if he can change, because he seems to be with a decent group of people.
So Murderbot got distracted, as he said, and then he's telling Arata and Bardwatch to run, like something's happening, and then you just see him jump off the mountain and come running down.
Well,
and
because they're like, I'm fine. They're like, I'm fine. It's okay, because they don't want to stop what they're doing. But he's like, y'all need to go. And so we realize that he has more ability to see than anyone else does, because he notices something coming, like creating shockwaves under the surface, and they don't notice it.
And it's like a giant two-headed centipede monster that comes out of the ground, and it snatches Bardwag up and then drops her. And so she's fucked up. She's not dead though, but she's fucked up. And then Murderbot starts fighting it. And then the monster eats Murderbot. But while he's inside of him, he's like shooting a hole into him so he can get out. And he shot a hole so bad that like the monster ran away and dove back into the earth. And then he's got like a chunk. He's got a chunk of his body like taken out of him. So he's just like, it's so weird looking. He's got a chunk of his body. He's just like, okay, we got to get back to there. We got to save you. So he picks up Bardwatch and carrying her back to the ship. And Arata's like freaking out. And she's like completely freaked out. And he's like, okay, I got to do something. He's like, I got to do something to soothe her. And so he takes his helmet off, and you notice that you can see his face. And you see his face, and it's, it's a Skarsgård, and he tells him, stay calm. He says it like a robot, stay calm. Everything will be okay. Do you have children? What are they like? He's like talking to him like this, trying to keep her calm. And apparently it works. And so
it's all the stuff that he was hearing on the TV that he was watching, which is kind of like a sign that he's not a regular robot. But also I think like him having free will means that he has the opportunity to make bad decisions. That's one of the takeaways I think that he realizes. And then the last thing is, it's interesting because I do feel like the helmet makes him very robotic. Like he was still acting the same as a human, but the helmet is when I'm like, oh, that's definitely a robot. And the off the helmet is when I'm like critiquing. I'm being harder on him as an actor because I feel like taking the helmet off really throws me off a little bit. I think maybe that's what I'm experiencing. Like I'm like, this is Alexander Skarsgård.
It is. And so Mensa shows up and she's like, get him in there. Let's get him help. Like, get her in a med bay. And then Rafi's like, let me go get that equipment. And then he's like, what? No, what the fuck's wrong with you? Didn't you just see that thing come out the fucking ground? And he was like, oh yeah, good point.
Like, you're right.
Murderbot's like, I've had plenty of clients who would have sacrificed their life for the equipment. These guys were different. And Mensa's like, hey dog, like come in. Don't you need to we need to get you some help. And he's like, I'm still at functional capacity. Let me do my security checks. And she's like, dog, come in here, heal yourself. You're off duty. Just get the fuck in here now. So he comes in.
Perimeter check is how he gets out of awkward situations because he's very awkward. He's like, he don't want to deal with them. So he's like, I need to check the perimeter.
And then he has like a bit of a dream sequence where he like fantasizes about murdering. He's like, I could just murder all these motherfuckers, take this plane, take this ship and get the fuck out of here. And then he was like, actually, this piece of shit couldn't get me off planet. So what would be the point anyway? And so he doesn't do it. And then he says, I don't want to kill him anyway, unless I have to. And so then Garafin comes out and he has the med bay prepped. And that's when he goes in and gets situated. And Garafin comes to Mensa and was like, hey dog, man, we need to do something about this sec unit. And he's like, what are you talking about? He just saved us. What the fuck is wrong with you? And he's like, no, that shit malfunctioning. And so they show him a video from Arata's feed of when he took his helmet off and was like talking to him. And he was like,
which is not normal. Yeah.
They're not programmed to do that shit.
Nobody knew they had a face.
And the rest of them were like, oh, he seemed nice. What you mean? What's wrong with him? And he's like, yeah, he's not supposed to be nice. He's supposed to be, it's supposed to be nothing. It's supposed to just do what we tell him to do.
He's suspicious of him, but also there's a bit of a like rivalry between them because he's like half android.
Augmented.
So he's like, I could do this too. I could do, like, he's kind of competing with him, and it's an interesting thing we hear in this in Murderbot's head.
So Murderbot was watching and listening the whole time, right? And so he knows exactly what they were talking about, and he's kind of pissed at Garaf. He's got like a rivalry with him. By the way, his organs are getting 3D printed, and he said he dulled his pain sensors so that he could watch his favorite show. And so he starts watching more of the Sanctuary, the Fall of the Sanctuary Moon. And this time the robot falls in love with the dude. So now he's like, oh, now we can have sex. And they do this thing with their hand.
They've been having sex. They were caught. They're just finally admitting it.
Oh, is that what that was?
That's what I took away from that. Like they were doing it, and he just didn't want to admit it before. Yeah, that's what I thought.
So Mensa wants when he's watching that, Mensa's like, "Hey, sec unit, come out here." He's like, "My suit's not ready." And she's like, "Put on one of the crew suit. Just come the fuck out here." So he looks kind of like confused, but he comes out there. And Penn Lee in the background notices that the maps were tampered. She thinks the maps were tampered with, and so Mensa thanks him for saving. Oh, I actually have the scene because this was funny. He thanks him, and then they all clap, and then Rafi's like, speech. And then Murderbot's like, oh, this is a command. I have to give a speech. And then he does this super awkward speech.
Woo! Speech!
Oh shit, that was a direct order. If I disobey, they'll know I hacked my governor module. Which is worse, speech or acid bath? Speech, acid bath.
It is my job to secure. Is my job.
And an excellent job you have done. Excellent.
It's Lucas Madsen in space, you know?
Excellent.
I forgot about that.
Should have gone with acid bath.
I go back to the security.
Because again, sorry, the stakes are that if they find out he's done all that, if their their research fails, he gets melted down and shot for parts. That's kind of what the stakes are for Murderbot, by the way.
Room now.
No, you may not.
Sec Unit, we've been looking at the maps provided by the company for our survey areas.
They've been tampered with.
Oh, we don't know that for certain.
What other explanation is there?
Let us find out. Please, come join us, Sec Unit. We were checking the maps in this region to try to learn why that creature wasn't listed under hazardous fauna. Could you do an analysis?
Yes, Dr. Mensah.
So they want him to figure out, like, why the fuck did that creature show up? All of our map says there shouldn't be any type of, like, hostile creatures around there.
It was easier for me to access the data. I could feel Garathan moving around in there, but I had more processing power.
Ow.
I'm sorry, Dr. Garathan, I didn't feel you there. The maps show no signs of tampering. But some spots aren't syncing properly.
So the maps suck. That's corporation rim for you, high prices for shitty equipment. Not you. You're great.
So, just to be clear, we never know where those monsters will turn up.
No, they're not monsters, Rati. They're animals.
Oh, we got an animal lover here. Even though that clearly was a fucking monster. Come on.
Chewed Bard was nearly...
I mean, they are on their planet.
That was just an animal doing what animals do.
Babe, the animals
I got an animal. My animal don't do that.
don't matter. The maps matter.
Animals don't matter?
Sec Unit.
Oh, great. That's news to me.
Yes, Dr. Mensah.
Did you know about this before?
No, Dr. Mensah.
Why not?
Because I didn't give a shit.
Information
Oh, that shit is so funny,
and access
man.
protocol, Dr. Garathan. I don't get access until the expedition leader nominates a survey area.
Well, we could go take a look at one of the affected areas.
Oh, I wouldn't advise it from a security point of view.
Thank you, Sec Unit.
Thank you, Dr. Garathan.
No problem, Knox. See you next time, next week. Hopefully you catch up on the show and come with us next week. So then after that, Mensah offers Sec Unit to stay with the crew, and he's like, he don't know how to handle that, so he just kind of walks away. Garathan says it doesn't like us, and Penley says he doesn't have to like us. His job is to keep us safe. And then Garathan was like, it's got something wrong with it. And so Sec Unit Murderbot keeps having memories of something really bad, but he doesn't know what it is. And he says, the characters in the shows I watch are way less stressed than these people in real life. Like, these people in real life, man, are a lot. And so then he goes around, we kind of see a montage of what everybody's doing on the ship. Mensah was having a panic attack. And Murderbot says, this is psychological danger, not physical danger. So, not my problem. And then Mensah comes in while
his whole Murderbot's whole thing, episode 1, is not my monkey, not my circus. He's like, look, I saved y'all from the thing. I feel like I should be out of it. And they're responding to him, obviously, with like a very human-centered, like caring way of thinking about it. And it's very different for him.
Yep. And she said, then we see, I lost my track of my notes. Oh, okay. Yeah, not my problem. So then Mensah comes in while he's finishing getting patched up. And that's when we see that he looked like a Ken doll. He don't have no dick. So he was not bred for that.
They did Ken doll him, okay, good to know. So then I guess maybe I'm wondering if the doll on the ship, not doll, oh my God, if the bot on the ship on the show is not bred for that, then maybe they weren't messing around. I actually don't know what sex is in this universe, but it is. I was very interested in the fact that they Ken dolled him. I thought that was like a smart like logistical move, but also, you know how we've watched a lot of shows that would show like full frontal. So unfortunately, that's just not what this was. Unfortunately.
And yes, unfortunately. Mensah wants to make sure he's okay, and she tells him he was very good with Arata, but he won't really say nothing. And so Mensah says, didn't want to bring she didn't want to bring him. Did you know that? He was like, yes, in his mind, but said no to her. And they wouldn't insure them otherwise. They wouldn't insure them otherwise. And so he asked again if he's okay. Mensa says, I'll see you in 8 hours. If you need anything, alert me. And then Murderbot wants to know if she's getting suspicious or if she's getting involved. And that was the end of episode 1. And so these, like I said, these go by quick. So then we get episode 2, Eye Contact, the name of the episode. We're at the habitat, and Garafin says Murderbot is in stasis. So he's like, let's have a meeting, let's talk. And so they're trying to figure out what they're finna do. Mensa says, we gotta make sure the map's not completely messed up. But I need some safety. And Garaffin's like, I'll go protect you. She's like, bitch, like I need you here to keep track of comms and shit. Fuck's wrong with you? And then Arata was like, just take Sec Unit. And Garafin was like, I don't trust anything or anyone that comes from the company. And they're like, oh yeah. I mean, you right. The company trashed, but it did save us. Like, what you mean? And so Mensa was like, oh, I went to talk to it. And they said, do you think we can trust him? And Mensa was like, I feel we can trust him, but I think I should be conscious. And
yeah,
it feels,
basically he has them all paranoid because he's right. Like the bot is acting weird. It's definitely not being normal. And the fact that he even, he did warn them about the animal late because he wasn't paying attention, like he was watching TV. So like there is something actively wrong, but there's also some jealousy there.
So the door opens and they all get scared because they think it's the Murderbot spying on them, but it was just Baaabe, and she's back after getting patched up, and she's on a stimulant, so she's acting real jittery. And they get Baaabe all up to date on what happened. And so we cut to the repair cubicle and we see Murderbot sees that they went exploring off without him. He was like, these dumb fucking humans. Like, the fuck's wrong with these people? And so then we see Mensa out exploring again with Baaabe. And Murderbot can still watch them. He can tap into the security feed. And they're like, Sec units from the company, so it can't be trustworthy. And Baaabe was like, yeah. And he was like, but she did save me. He did save me. And that's when Mensa said, well, yeah, I kind of believe you, but Garafin didn't want him to come. So then we get this scene. This is a longer scene. This is the last scene of the day with Garafin and Murderbot talking because Garafin is like all up in his shit.
Garafin. What was his fucking problem? It was Garafin, the augmented human who had the system's ability to keep me in the dark.
Stop there, please, Sec Unit.
Ooh, look at him, all fancy with his augments. If I'd wanted to sneak up on him, I could have snapped his neck before he knew I was online.
I'd prefer it if you put your helmet down. Now that I know you have a face, I'd love to see it.
He's like turning in his chair, mad weird. Just like he won't lift it.
Him awkward.
It's so fucking weird.
The fact that he must know that he plays the weird guy. Like he just knows as an actor, like, yeah, this is what they want from me.
Oh, great. Eye contact. I hated eye contact. I watched through the security feed instead. Much less creepy that way.
Please, sit.
Because by the way, Murderbot hears and sees everything they're saying about him. So like even when they're suspicious of him or nervous, like he hears and is just like whatever, watching his shows.
Humans never ask you to sit with them. So sitting isn't really a comfortable proposition.
I'm fine standing, thank you.
I insist. Sit.
I'm fine standing, thank you. That's a crazy way to answer as a robot, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know what's normal and what's not because we've kind of been only with him this whole time.
I understand Dr. Mensa and Professor Baaabe are out in the hopper.
I'm in contact with them. They're taking all necessary precautions.
I am a necessary precaution. Moron.
Exactly. Like they're kind of overthinking it right now, because I understand if you're nervous in general, but like if Murderbot is the only reason why you didn't get eaten by the centipede the first time, I feel like he should be with you wherever you go from here. Like they're just not thinking.
Issue is eye contact. What a strange expression. Eye contact. Like our eyes are stalks coming out of our heads and touching other people's eye stalks.
He's mad weird. Too. He's very weird.
Okay, weirdo. Dr. Grathan, I recommend I join the team in the hopper, or that they return immediately. My threat assessment module indicates
How is your system doing after yesterday's attack?
Efficiency is at 97% and rising.
That's not what I...
That is what you asked him, actually. You asked him, how's his system doing? He answered you.
I guess I just don't understand much about sec units. What's it like to be you?
Terrible question.
Like, especially, how you ask a robot that?
Yeah, it's just so meta. It's like, what it's like to be you. You have, like, Brandon, what's it like to be you? It's like, I'd be like,
a mess, a disaster. That's what it is.
That's pretty accurate, yeah.
I don't know what it's like to not be me, so I can't say what it's like.
That's a great answer, by the way.
Father,
exactly.
What were Pendley and Arata doing?
You're really precious to me. Life is so precious. I want you to have everything. I love you.
Ugh, that was worse.
Secu.
Yes, Dr. Grathan.
Do you know why I advised Dr. Mensa not to take you along?
Because you're a dick. No, Dr. Grathan.
Because I look at you. And I feel something's wrong.
So then we cut to Pendley and Arata. And so what she was talking about, by the way, is she want to have a throuple because she knows Arata has a thing for Rafi and she wants to make Arata happy. And so she says, we're going to have a throuple, but this time I've drafted a contract to make sure that everything works out. So they got a contract on basically like the rules of the throuple to make sure everything works out.
Which is smart. If you've gotten caught up in a throuple before, you know that shit can get messy. I'm not. It sounds like I'm speaking from experience, but I know from other people's experience that you got to plan it out because somebody's gonna catch feelings, and yeah,
it's like when you go. Chanel's basically like when you're on TV with like the sex therapist and you ask a question, but you say a friend of mine wants to know, what does this thing mean? You know, that's what just happened there. So then Pendley says, if you're happy, I'm happy. But she don't really look happy.
But it's clearly like, it sounds like she brought it up, but the way that a homegirl is jumping for joy is very different than what Pendley's giving.
Murderbot thinks Garaffin knows that he got rid of his government module and he's looking for a way to escape, but he kind of stops him, starts asking some more questions. And then he talks about like they're part of the Preservation Alliance. That's the group that they're in. And the core tenet of the Preservation Alliance is that all AI and constructs are people and should be treated as people. And he's trying to get Murderbot's opinion on it, but Murderbot's not going to bite. So he says, corporation realm, in the corporation realm, you are equipment. And he's still not biting. Garaffin's requiring him to make eye contact, and Murderbot did not like this. So he's kind of like awkwardly looking at him because he doesn't really want to do it. And Garaffin talks to him about comfort units, which is what they call designed for sexual relations with humans. So they're called comfort units. And Garaffin was like, were you designed for anything? Like emotional attachment of any kind? He's like, no. But He's like, but you were empathetic for Dr. Arata. And he was like, well, my combat module kicked in and I was programmed to like model interpersonal relationship.
Which makes sense.
In
Like,
that
that's
situation.
a decent cover.
And Garaffin said, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, the truth is that he got it from the TV show, as we know. So it's like,
yeah, that's what he's about to say. Yeah.
Story. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, he said he got it from watching a TV show. Then they show the scene, the exact scene that he got it from. Where the woman said the words almost exactly what he said, by the way.
Yeah, no, I mean, because where else is he getting it from? Like, even if it is based on life experience, like, he hasn't met any empathetic people before this, because like really cannot, like, literally, if you don't want to watch this on your own, you want us to tell you about it. When we say that the people at the miners in the first planet were terrible, just imagine like Pirates of the Caribbean, like that type of crew is that's the energy they were given. So he's not been around decent folk before this.
Garaffin says found out he was refurbished, asked what was he refurbished for. Murderbot's like, I wish I could tell you, but they wiped my memory. And
yeah, but we see like flashes of it where he probably was committing some type of attack on behalf of
the corporation.
That's what it's giving.
Garaffin says he cares deeply about his friends, and Murderbot cuts him off and says, it'd be very dangerous for everyone if something was wrong with me. And then Garaffin says, including Murderbot. And he's like, yep, including Murderbot. And then he was like, Murderbot's like, I don't want him in my mind, so I'm going to cut to something else that he sees because I know he's going to come digging in my mind. So he basically puts up a feed of Arata, Penley, and Rafi signing their throuple document. And then Arata just basically jumps on Rafi. And Rafi looks like taking it back, but then he gets into it. And then they show Penley trying to like get a kiss in, but she can't get a kiss in, so she just kind of gets behind her. And then you see Garaffin.
She's like kissing the back of her head. It's so embarrassing.
Garaffin's like, I'm good. He's just like, I didn't need to see that. I'm good. And so then they cut back to the site, and Mensa's climbing this mountain, but she starts to have a panic attack. And so she's struggling. And then Murderbot calls her and is like, Dr. Mensa, please turn around. And she's like, oh, thanks, Murderbot, but I got to keep going when I start something. And Murderbot's like, you dumbass, like, turn the fuck around. And then we see the teeth monster come up behind Mensa.
Again, yep. Because it's also, wait, side note, Mensa has been having some anxiety we've been seeing in the back. Yeah. So that's something that's probably going to come up again in a moment. She's like a leader, and I think it's leading to her. And then there's ethics involved. So she's having some anxiety that slows her down going up the mountain.
And we think it's done for her. And then the monster just goes around her, goes down this mountain, and then just dies. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, what happened?
And then we
here?
start to see there's like a whole graveyard of the monsters being called to like this weird ass vertex force field thing that like the droid, because there's a droid they send out to see everything that goes beyond it for her. And the droid gets pulled into this vortex thing and it destroys it. So there's like some weird energy type thing coming out of the ground, attracting these animals to it.
And then when they get back, they're discussing these things. And Mensa's like, but first she's kind of freaking out. And Garaffin's trying to apologize to her. And she just ignores the fuck out of him. And then she comes back out. She's like, look, dog, I just need to take a shower. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Like, my bad.
Yeah, I mean, because he obviously feels guilty because she almost got eaten because he was being paranoid and she was telling them, like, are you sure? So he did not give good advice in this moment. And I think she's shaken up by it.
So then they're all discussing what happened. And she goes, there's another team on the other side of the planet. Let's reach out to them. And so she calls them on the radio and you just hear silence. And then we cut to their ship. And everyone on that ship is murdered. Guts everywhere.
Even the sec unit.
Even the sec unit is murdered. Yep. It's just
fucked up. Yeah.
So something bad is happening on this planet. And we don't know exactly what it is yet.
And that's interesting that the corporation would let them insure and go without having a check-in or progress report. I wonder how recently this all happened. Because it's like send somebody to a planet and you have somebody on that plane already and you're not getting like good reports from them?
And that was the end of episode 2.
That's that.
So
goes by pretty quick.
Yeah, these are 30-minute episodes.
But are they gonna release, if they release weekly, if they only release 1 per week moving forward instead of 2, we might need to catch up on something else too.
Well, we can see next week. It looks like it's just 1 episode next week. Yeah, next week's just 1 episode.
Well, I'll make sure to watch Rogue. What's happening next week? Yeah, I'll be around. I'll watch Rogue One for sure. And then you might be finished with you, as far as I'm concerned. We might be finished with you. Maybe you will do you next time.
I'm gonna be catching up on you, definitely.
So you're gonna be the expert of seasons 1 through 4 because I'll be able to cover season 5, but my details are. I'll watch like recaps for 1 to 4, but my details are mad fuzzy.
Chanel and I have decided that we're going to review Ironheart next month. Chanel seemed pretty excited about the trailer when I texted her. In fact, she had watched it before me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even see it yet at the time. Oh, I just saw it and she was like, oh, I already watched it. So
I have so many Black women friends from MIT. This show is an amazing representation of, of college women in Cambridge. I really am excited for like just that representation because like you see so much Harvard, like, fucking social media is created there and all this stuff that you see, like these stories about Harvard being like this old boys club. So it's great to see Cambridge be represented by women of color because we are prevalent out there. So I love that.
Skeeter said we like Andor. Yeah, we did a season 2 review of Andor. It should be on the YouTube feed or the podcast feed, so you can check it out. But yeah, we loved Andor. It was fucking great. It was to me. It was the best Star Wars has ever done to me. So it was really good. In fact, on my old show, the Watch the Series podcast, we used to have this woman, Heather Antos, come on our show anytime something new Star Wars came out. Heather used to be an editor at Marvel Comics. She's now an editor at IDW, and she was a writer. She used to write Star Wars comic books for Marvel, and she worked on writing for the movies. And so she used to come on our show and review the Star Wars stuff every time it came out. We haven't talked to Heather in a while anyway, so I should probably hit her up. But anyway, she was one of the big YouTube channels, Screen Crush, had her on to talk about Andor, and she was like, Andor is the best thing Star Wars has ever done, and I've watched and helped write. Have watched everything, I've read everything, and I've helped write it. It's the best thing they've ever done. And so she was super excited about it. And then she also said if I could do anything with Disney, it would be a Dr. Aphra series. And I was jumping up for joy because Dr. Aphra is incredible. So I hope they actually do make a Dr. Aphra series.
Growing up, you were just reading all the comic books.
I wasn't reading no Star Wars comic books till 6 years ago, something like that. Whenever Marvel got them, those Chanel just dropped. We'll see if she comes back. But no, but those of you who did read the comic books, if you read the Dr. Aphra series, Dr. Aphra is playing. So what were you going to say, Chanel? Was that reading books?
I was calling you a nerd and I got dropped. That's what I get.
That is what you get. That's exactly what you get.
All the niche characters. That's my question.
How do I know what?
About all the random niche characters. Like, about every single, like.
No, I don't. Trust me. I'm not that much of a Star Wars nerd. I just know the movies, the TV shows, and the Marvel comics. I don't know any of the books. They made tons and tons and dozens of books that explored the whole universe in the 90s and early 2000s. I didn't read any of those books. I started reading Star Wars when Disney bought the rights. And then Disney had Marvel make comic books.
So as an adult.
Yeah, Disney then had Marvel make comic books. Because the Star Wars universe is so convoluted because George Lucas made these first movies, right? Which happens after a bunch of shit. Then he makes the prequels. And then there's like a whole bunch of shit in between that you're like, why does any of this happen? What happened in between A New Hope and Return and Empire Strikes Back. What happened between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi? What happened in between Return of the Sith and A New Hope? Like, what happened between all these movies, right? So Marvel Comics have filled in the gap of all those things in canon. They did it before in what they call legends. It's like the old books and stuff, but that doesn't count as canon. So a lot of the comic books have filled in the gap. So like there was a Darth Vader book, which is incredible, which talks about like how Vader got his lightsaber back and what he had to do to go through that. And that's when you meet Dr. Aphra, who she is like, I don't know how to describe her. Not an archaeologist. She's kind of like I don't know. She's kind of like a scoundrel archaeologist type person, but Vader hires her to do stuff because she trusts her because how good she is. And then she got it spun off and got her own book and got 50 issues. And it's like, so that's a lot. That's a lot of issues in comics. She got 50 issues because the book was so good. And she's like one of the most beloved characters in Star Wars now. So everybody wants to see her get a movie or a TV show. That was a long way around that. But Dr. Aphra, hopefully we see her soon. But thank you all for listening. Like Chanel said, Chanel, I guess she wants me to get updated on you, so I have to catch up on you by next week.
I mean, I thought you'd be turning against Joe already, so I'm like very confused.
How am I gonna turn against Joe the first 2 seasons?
Because first of all, you should have been, because you should be against Joe from the beginning, because Joe's a stalker.
Was he stalking Beck? Was he? He was trying to help Beck. Beck was a mess. And he fixed her. She had the most success of her life because of Joe. Her friends were trash. Her friend was a stalker. Her friend was taking pictures of her and shit.
Okay, I will say this. The show creates some relativism that's out of this world because it takes something that's objectively wrong and keeps saying, but what if she's a mess? Or what if she saves her from this thing? And it's like, no, this is actually sick. And we need to stop glorifying this behavior because Joe at the end of the day gets on my fucking nerves. But you're going to see. We're going to see if Joe is not on your nerves by season 5.
So now I was going to stop doing the show with me if I don't turn on Joe.
Now this is not, I would have, if I was going to stop doing the show, it would have been over Harry Potter.
Oh, get out of here. I watched those stupid movies, by the way. I did because Mike made me watch those dumb movies, but I did watch. You watched
the movies, but you did watch all the movies, all 8.
I watched 7. I didn't watch the last one. He made me watch them all.
End it?
I couldn't do it anymore.
Okay, whatever. I guess like it wouldn't be as magical in my 30s. I'm not gonna hold you. Like I wouldn't be as excited about it.
I'm gonna watch the show. I'm going to give the show a shot.
Oh, yeah, the show. I forgot. I've been talking about the show and I forgot the show was coming out. Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I'm just saying the fact that it's kind of like, I think the generation after us grew up in like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It's like, imagine doing a show and then somebody's like, I never read that canon, the canon of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I feel like there's certain things that you just read and I just couldn't imagine that you hadn't read that. I just wasn't ready for that.
By the way, Skeeter Egan says, I read G.I. Joe comics. Skeeter, are you reading the new Energon universe? So this is really nerdy, Chanel, but I just had to get this out.
This is so blurry. I love it.
There is. So oh yeah, he is reading it. Okay. Oh, I don't know if he responded 8:35. No. So there's in Image Comics, right? They bought the rights to G.I. Joe and Transformers. And they put them all in the same universe. It's called the Energon universe. So Transformers and G.I. Joes are in the same universe, like the MCU. And so then they have a book called Void Rivals, which takes place like in space that has nothing to do with the G.I. Joe or Transformers, except both of them show up. So this is like a new group of people in the world. And so like those books are like fantastic. So hopefully maybe we'll get a movie with G.I. Joe. They were already talking about doing a movie with Fast and Furious in the Transformers. Right, they were talking about doing a Fast and the Furious Transformers crossover movie. What we need is the Energon universe. The Energon universe. Together. There you go. That was my nerdy corner, Chanel. Hopefully it wasn't too much for you.
It's not even that. It's just like I can't track the names. Like I would need a chart because now you're just bringing up shit I've never heard about. It's just like when somebody tells me their name and it's not a name I've heard before, and I'm just like, oh, if you don't write it down, I'm lost.
You never heard of G.I. Joe?
Inner Joe. What are you saying? Inner John?
Inner John. Yeah. That's like their fuel, the Transformers. Like they don't run on gas, they run on Energon. That's what's inside. So that's what they named the universe. It's not the actual name in the universe. This is what it is for people outside the Energon universe. They're all together.
Cool.
So Chanel's ready to go. Yeah. She's sick of me. So we'll be back.
I'm not sick of you. I just like, now I got to look up Energon.
Energon. It's only in the comics. It's not in the movies or nothing. They just brought them all together in the comic book.
Was Channing Tatum in G.I. Joe, or is that crazy?
Channing Tatum, G.I. Joe? Maybe.
Wasn't there a live action G.I. Joe?
Yeah, there was a bunch of them.
Do you think we should start doing movies in the meantime? Oh, The Rock. Why would I think The Rock wasn't in this?
I think we should do movies if we make a Patreon. We should make a Patreon and do movies. And see if anybody will support us on Patreon. We can find out.
Channing Tatum is in this. Oh, look,
he was in it.
Lotto.
Oh yeah, he was in that. He played Duke. Oh, that makes sense that he played Duke.
Let me go play the lotto. I'm good with it. All right. Well, anyway, we're back to regularly scheduled programming. Thanks, guys, for tuning in today. We're gonna throw in some other shows by next week. Remember, you don't have to have watched the show to follow along with us. You can listen to us, and then watch or never watch at all. We appreciate you guys for listening, though. Dang, what's our Murderbot sign off?
Well, before that, email us or leave a comment. Let us know if you want us to make a Patreon to review movies, or do them, or if you want us to do them, if you want us to do them on this feed. Let us know, and tell us if there's something you'd be interested in. You're the one who do the sign offs, not me.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we're still trying to get to 500 subscribers. So please, if you're not watching, if you're listening to this and not watching on YouTube, just go click on YouTube and subscribe. It's for free. It won't bother you at all. We won't even ping you. You won't get emails about it. Just subscribe, and then we'll be happy. Okay. What is Murderbot was saying all kind of bullshit. I feel like Murderbot doesn't have. How would Murderbot say goodbye? He'd be like, all I got is murder by.
On that note, we'll talk to you next week, maybe, if we still have a show.
I'm going to chat GPT.